When people think of lead guitar, they think, ooh, that's really hard. It's much harder than playing rhythm guitar. Well, if you study the rhythmic work of Nile Rodgers, actually, they're both equally hard or equally easy, dependent on your experience. And actually, playing lead guitar involves a different skill set than playing rhythm guitar. Let's have a look. Now, playing chords, you're simply strumming across the strings with a chord shape in place. But it comes with its own set of challenges. You can mute the strings, or you can add notes in amongst your chords. You can create a different rhythm. That sort of thing. Now, when it comes to lead guitar, it's a little bit more precise because, of course, you've got to aim for one string only, or maybe two if you're playing a sort of a double stop part of a chord, perhaps. So the first thing to work out is how we're going to coordinate the hands, because actually this is all important. At this stage, it's a very good idea to practice with no amplifier connected, because actually if you're getting really good tone from the guitar with no amp, it means that when you plug the amp in, it's going to sound great. You want as little surface noise as possible from your plectrum, your strings and your fingers in order to get a really clean tone. So, just picking one particular fret. I'm on the 4th string here, 5th fret with my index finger. And then I'm going to use my annular finger on the 7th fret on the same string. With the plectrum, I'm going to draw semicircles, essentially a down, up picking pattern. Now the best thing to do here is to make sure that the notes last as long as possible for their given length. What I mean, instead of this, is to have this. So that they're longer. The next thing to do is to try and combine these two fingers so that you end up with synchronization. So a downstroke on the 5th fret and an upstroke on the 7th. And to try and coordinate the movement of the plectrum with the exact moment that you lower your finger. So there's quite a lot going on here. We've got this finger, then this finger pressing down for the plectrum here, and then the plectrum landing back on a downstroke just after you've released this finger. So in slow motion you'd release that, and then your downstroke comes for the 5th fret. Ideally this should be practiced the other way round as well. So you do an upstroke first on the 5th fret, a down on the 7th, etc. What you can then do from there is to combine a couple of strings where you've got the 5th and 7th fret on the middle 2 strings, so the 3rd and the 4th strings. That means you've got to move the plectrum slightly. Now at this stage, try to remember not to look at your right hand, because actually, ideally, you should be able to feel your way. It's more likely that you're going to have to look at your left hand because of the fact that you've got all of these fret positions, whereas here you've only got 6 things. So it's like feeling your way, if you're driving, feeling your way around a gearbox in a car. You wouldn't look at the gear stick because you'd run someone over, but rather you just know where they all are. So it's a similar thing with the guitar strings with your right hand. So, or left hand if you're a left-handed player. So, just doing that again. If I slow that right down so that you can see all the movements in ultra slow motion, it does this. Etc. It's a really good idea to get quite disciplined with just that one exercise first. Of course, you can just play single notes. And then you can start to combine it with all of the fingers rather than just your index and annular finger. So you could do this. Then you can try skipping 2 strings on here. Just using random notes. It doesn't really matter if it's not melodic at this stage. It's just getting this and this to talk to each other in such a way that you're literally perfectly bang on in sync. Practicing really slowly to begin with will reward you massively for the future when you start speeding things up. When you see people doing really fast solos, actually, it's just all of that sped up. The speeding up of it is actually the easier process than the coordination of each note and each hand playing that one note. 2 hands required to play one note, whereas on a keyboard, of course, you can play with one finger and you get your note. Guitar or any other string instrument, you need 2 hands to do it. So we've got to be very mindful of that.